The first question was asking you to write an equivalent expression using GCF and the distributive property. When you see GCF and the distributive property together, you need two things. One, you need a Venn diagram. Two, you need the parentheses. You should be writing those symbols on your little packet. Now from there, you need to prime factor the numbers. My numbers are a little small here and kind of scrunching together, so I'm separating them with a line so that I don't make a mistake when I'm comparing from side to side. What's in the middle goes outside the parentheses, and then the 2 comes from the left, and the 7 comes from the right circle. Rewritten using the GCF and the distributive property is 7 parentheses 2 plus 7. The next one, doing the same thing. Remember, it does not matter how you start breaking the number apart as long as you have a valid set of factors. We will all match with our prime numbers at the end. Please make sure you're not leaving any of your branches hanging without going all the way down to your prime numbers. From here again, it's comparing left side, right side. 2 matches with 2. 3 matches with 3. 2 matches with 2. 2 does not match, and these two 3s do not match. Greatest common factor, 2 times 3 is 6, times 2 is 12. Left side is a 2. Right side is 3 times 3, which is 9. GCF 12 parentheses 2 plus 9. Next question here, LCM, so I should see some skip counting. Again, write this little helper so that you can refresh your memory tonight at home. With 10 and 50, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and that's where they match. I don't even need to expand on the 50 because the first time that the least number they have in common is a 50, so I'm done. 16 and 36 took a little bit longer to get to that least common multiple. So 16 then goes to 32. If you need to, line up your numbers vertically instead of horizontally. It will help you be that much more successful when you are adding. To 48, to 64, to 80, to 96, to 112, 128, 144. Now obviously you didn't know it was going to end at 144 right off the bat, so you had to have some other numbers. Maybe you're a little bit further, maybe you're a little bit shorter and had to add to your list, but ultimately the least common multiple is 144. This question was just asking you GCF. It was not asking you GCF with the distributive property, so all I need here is the Venn diagram, no parentheses. You will notice that I gave you the same numbers here that I gave you with least common multiple. That's because you have to know the difference in which strategy to use for each process. Again, I'm going to draw my line down to separate my sides. 5 matches with 5. 2 matches with 2. 5 doesn't match with anything. 5 times 2 is 10. Please make sure that in those circles, everything you do with those circles is multiplying. It's not adding. So you should not have a 7 here. It is 10. Okay, 16 and 36. I'm using 4 times 4. And my 36, I'm going to use 9 times 4. 2 matches with 2 in the middle. 2 matches with 2 in the middle. 2 does not match. 2 does not match. 3 does not match. 3 does not match. 2 times 2 is 4. Applying the distributive property is one of the easiest things. It's outside multiplied by inside, outside multiplied by inside, and that's it. Nothing further. So 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 8 is 56. And I'm done.
You don't have to have
No.
to do it for
11 times 5 is 55. 11 times 6 is 66. This question not only tests your ability to add and subtract decimals, but also to recognize some vocabulary. Mrs. Smart had $5,675 in her bank account. Whole numbers have 2 zeros beyond the decimal point. We don't usually write them unless we are dealing with money, but you also need to be able to recognize that. So she has this amount of money in her savings account. She deposited is adding money, so she adds to this balance $2,168.79. So I'm going to deal with that money first and add it, lining up the decimals. That's why it was important for me to put the decimal 00 behind that whole number of 5,675. So at this point, bringing down the decimal straight down, she has $7,843.79 in her account. But later that day, she withdrew, and withdraw is a subtraction, $55.26. Again, lining up the decimals. And now subtracting. Cannot take 5 from 3, you need to borrow. 13 minus 5 is 8. Can't take 5 from 3, you need to borrow. 13 minus 5 is 8. 7 minus 0 is 0. 7 minus 0 is 0. But don't forget to bring down that decimal. In her account right now, in that savings account, is $7,788.53. Okay, this objective is LCM or GCF. So you have to know how to do both in a word problem. And you're looking for a synonym. There are 18 girls and 24 boys who want to participate in a trivia challenge. If each team must have the same number of boys and girls, what is the greatest number of teams that can enter? So you're either looking for a synonym to least or greatest.
Oh, wait.
Which one do you see?
Greatest.
Greatest. So greatest tells me I need my Venn diagram. So we have 18. Again, breaking that down into the prime numbers. And we have 24. Using my Venn diagram, 3 matches with 3, middle. 3 does not match. 2 matches with 2, middle. These other 2's do not match. The greatest common factor, 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, whole number division by 2 digits. The first number you say will go under the division sign. And what you're dividing by will be your divisor outside. 64 does not go into 2. 64 does not go into 20. It's not until you're at 204 that you can get 64 there into 204, and that's 3 times. 192 is the answer of 64 times 3. Somewhere on your paper, since 64 is not a multiplication fact that we practice, somewhere along the paper you should either have your test addition, your list of addition, or your test multiplication, someplace that you have some other work. 4 minus 2 is 2. Can't take 9 from 0, you need to borrow. 10 minus 9 is 1. Bringing down the 8, 64 into 128 happens twice. But you're not done because you have 1 extra 0 here. And even though 64 doesn't go into 0, you need that placeholder 0. That's extremely important. So the answer was not 32 here. It's 320. The other problem I'm going to put off to the side here. Dividing by 49. Again, I should see some addition or some multiplication. 49 doesn't go into 3, doesn't go into 34, goes into 345 7 times, giving you 343. Subtract, bring down the 4. 49 does not go into 24. And before I can bring down this 5, I need to deal with that and put a 0 up. That is a placeholder 0. And then 49 into 245 happens 5 times, and this stops. Okay, this question, rewriting a division problem as a multiplication problem, you automatically will do that once you apply your keep, change, reciprocate, because how you solve division of fraction problems is by multiplying by the reciprocal. And the reciprocal becomes 3 over 2, and that's how you get 21 over 16. Okay, division of mixed numbers. As soon as you see the mixed number, you need to change it to an improper fraction before you even attempt the keep, change, reciprocate. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13 over 2. I'm going to rewrite this problem just as it sits. So now I no longer look back at the original problem. I'm now at the 3/7 divided by 13 over 2. At this point, you will apply your keep, change, reciprocate. 3/7 times 2 over 13. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 times 13 is 91. Okay, these questions are multiplications of decimals. I ignore the decimals because you do not line up decimals when you're multiplying. You only line up decimals when you're adding and subtracting decimals, not multiplying. So I'm going to place the 87 on top. That's personal preference because I like to deal with the larger numbers on top. 7 times 7 is 49. Put down the 9, carry the 4. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 4 is 60. Placeholder 0. Now I'm dealing with the 2. 2 times 7 is 14, carry the 1. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Adding. And now I put the decimals back where they originally started, and to place them I need to count. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm done. Again, not lining up decimals and not bringing decimals straight down. For the next question, to me 691 is larger than 54, so I'm going to line up the 4 with the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, 9 times 4 is 36, 6 times 4 is 24, plus 3 is 27. Placeholder 0, 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 9 is 45, carry the 4, 6 times 5 is 30, plus 4 is 34. Placing the decimals back where they originally were, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Don't assume that every problem is always over 3 hops. Just happens to be a coincidence in these two problems. Okay. 2 types of decimals fractions with whole number division. One where the whole number is in the second part, and one where the whole number is in the first part. Very first thing you do is place a 1 under it, and then you can keep, change, reciprocate. 8/9, change divide to multiply, reciprocate to 1/4. You have 8 over 36. Now, this can be simplified, and I'm going to show you something right now that you guys know how to do, but you've never seen it work with simplifying a fraction. You can use a Venn diagram to simplify a fraction. Prime factor the numbers, placing the numbers in the circles, exactly what you've been doing this entire second part of the unit. You guys have become very proficient with your Venn diagrams. Use them. They help you. 2 matches with 2. 2 matches with 2. This 2 does not match, and these 2 3s do not match. In order to simplify this fraction, this is now your numerator. This becomes your denominator. So 836 simplifies to 2 over 9. All right, whole number divided by a decimal. A piece of ribbon I have is 24 inches long. If I cut each piece into 8/100 inches long, how many pieces will I end up with? 24 divided by 8/100. Now, this is where that knowledge of whole numbers as decimals comes into play, because 24 as a whole number has an invisible decimal back there, and you're going to need that knowledge because when you have a decimal in the divisor, you must move it to the end, however many hops it takes, and then you must also move it to the end in the number inside. And since there weren't any digits there to move past, I had to add some zeros. So the decimal is going to be here in my answer. So H doesn't go into 2, goes into 24 3 times. But you're not done dealing with these zeros because 8 doesn't go into 0. I need a placeholder 0 up above. And then 8 doesn't go into 0 again. So it's not just 3 pieces that you're cutting it into. It's 300. Last question. Molly purchased 1436 cups of strawberries. She eats 3/9 in a serving. How many servings did Molly purchase? This is a division problem. 1436 is what she purchases, and she's dividing them into 3/9 servings. We need our knowledge of keep, change, reciprocate. 14 over 36. Change division to multiplication and reciprocate to 9/3. 14 times 9.
126.
126
Over 108.
over 108. Now, again, the numerator is larger than the denominator, so you need to divide to make it a mixed number. Don't forget to borrow here because you can't take 8 from 6. Borrow from the 2, make it a 1. 16 minus 8 is 8. 1 minus 0 is 1. Your answer is 1 and 18 over 108. But that's not in simplest form. Right now at your seat, I want you to use a Venn diagram with 18 and 108 to simplify that. Even if you've already simplified it, I want you to try a Venn diagram and see how it works. So I'm going to simplify it myself up here. Okay, so your new numerator is what?
Wait.
The new numerator is
1
1, and then your denominator is 6. 1 and 1 6 in simplest form.